What's up, everyone? I am Rumble.
I am the great Gazoo.
And once again, on this episode, we're here to talk sports.
Better than you from the cheap seats.
Absolutely. The night you're saying to yourself is your background features the laundry room.
No, actually, it features the machine that came out of the laundry room.
Replacement or doing the laundry room over?
Replacement.
There we go. All right. Upgrade. Yeah, there we go. So tonight we're going to cover some minor Bruins hot stove, realistically. But more or less, we're going to cover Patrice Bergeron and his meaning to the Boston Bruins on his retirement. Then we will talk about the Boston Celtics just a little bit, but the big news that we will cover because it's so big is the Jaylen Brown $300 million extension over 5 years. And we're going to, pros and cons to it. Tonight we'll talk Patriots minicamp. And then we'll wrap it up. Yep, that's right, 2023. And then we'll wrap it up with the Boston Red Sox. Are they buyers? Are they sellers? Are they overachievers, knowing that the goal they had was realistically set for 2025 and they wanted to be the Band-Aid Sox for the next couple of years? And like I said,
maybe at the end we throw in a little of that stuff they call professional wrestling.
Yes.
Maybe.
So let's kick it off. But I'd like to say this is I have it on my shelf. I have my little collection going on here. This is just a little bit like get some pops.
Yep.
And I have right here the man that we're going to talk about.
Patrice Bergeron.
That's right. His pop is on my shelf.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get out fine. Let me get it out.
I was going to wear my Patrice Bergeron t-shirt, but it is just so scorching. Sun's out, and as you can see, them guns are still a-blazing, brother.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Please, will you stop?
Sun's out, guns out.
Will you stop? Just stop. All right? Your son has bigger guns than you. Show your father your guns. Thank you. See? I can already see them.
The peace word is.
And then I'm going to pull out, the hat that Patrice Bergeron helped us get 2011. Still have my baby hat. And you can thank Patrice Bergeron. His fingers were all over that. So let's say it. It is what it is. It's the end of the dynasty that is Patrice Bergeron. It is 19 years in the making. It's unfortunate. I understand it. From a Bruins perspective, I'm going to be honest with you. The last couple of weeks, I've been following the story.
Yeah.
And rumors were out that he was 95% going to come back, especially with the Bruins re-signing Lucic, figuring that last year with that group of guys, Luch and him are very close, but having a baby, going through the significant injuries he's gone through the last 7 to 10 years, especially having a baby at the age of 37, I get it. His body, I definitely don't think it was the Bruins organization, nor do I think it was an outside source convincing him not to. I think that it was his body and his newborn baby, and it's just like, ultimately, listen, you're an athlete. I've been an athlete. You know what it's like when the body tells you, when you've been an athlete for 19 years, and that is the most.
And he's a very physical sport in hockey, man.
Yep, and he doesn't do things half-ass. He's not Phil Kessel.
Yeah,
he is Patrice Bergeron. He gave 1,000% every time, and he said it. He has no regrets. He left it all on the ice. I applaud him. It's sad because I don't know the next. I mean, yes, you'll probably see Brad Marchand stay.
Let's not talk about the captaincy. Let's just talk about
No. What I mean is what I was getting at is, we grew up, we lucked out. We got Ray Bork. Even though technically Ray Bork didn't finish his career,
Yeah,
18 years with the Bruins, right?
absolutely.
Then
He's all I knew as a kid, going
yeah,
number 7. And I know everybody tells the story that
of course, yeah.
they had the tickets. But if my father's friend Bob Doherty was here,
Bob Doherty.
he would attest to it, because
Yep.
the girl he was going with at the time, she worked inside the old Boston Garden.
Yep.
I went to that game. Everybody on that train, including Bob, was like, nope, Phil's going to let him stick with 7. And the
Right.
younger generation, like myself, said, no,
Nope.
he's going to respect Phil and double his number.
Yeah.
Because at the time, you had like the only 2 legit high double numbers you had Paul Coffey, who was originally number 7 with the Oilers.
Correct.
Once he went to Pittsburgh, he became number 77.
Right.
You had Gretzky 99, and you had Lemieux 66.
Actually, Lemieux was not 66.
Lemieux wasn't even in the league yet.
Thank you.
But what I'm saying is, you had Gretzky and Coffey, because at that time, I believe Coffey was already in his first or second year with Pittsburgh.
No, Coffey was.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, maybe
Coffey was.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I was like talking with people on the Orange Line train that night, and I'm like, I'm telling you, he's going to be like Paul Coffey, go like number 77, out of respect for Espo. You know what I mean? And that's truth, man. But anyways,
I believe you.
Growing up as kids, that was a core Bruins with Neely, with Janney, with Adamos, and then you got the next breed that was like, to me, was Samsonov.
Jason
then you got
and all those guys.
Yep. Then you had, what's his name, Joe Thornton.
Yeah, Joey Juneau, Joe Thornton. Yep. But my point was,
and imagine if the dude, what's the dude there? I had Mark Savard. Imagine if Savard never had to retire because of the concussion problems. Mm-hmm. Because Savard and Bergeron were the 2 guys. Those were the 2 studs that came up 20 years ago.
Time too. But the point is what I wanted to get at was, in Boston sports, in any sport, you very rarely see one player be admonished the way he, like, again, you had Bobby Orr, we've had Ray Bourque. Now we can say we lived, watched, and breathed the entire career of Patrice Bergeron. Something that Bobby nor Ray Bourque can say was they played their entire career with that one team. Mario Lemieux, some great players, right?
Yep.
Lemieux, Yzerman, Bergeron, all with the same team, same career. Martin Brodeur. Yes, Martin Brodeur retired at Devil.
As far as I'm concerned, I believe because of the 19 years and the awards that Bergeron got throughout the NHL and throughout Bruins history, I believe he's one of the top 5 Bruins and top 5 Boston Bruins in the history of the organization.
I agree 1,000%.
You know,
I'm going to tell you right now that people will disagree, but I think that your number 1 Bruin all time is Ray Bourque. He holds the records. He played in a very difficult time, and he played at such a high level. Your number 2 Bruin is Bobby Orr. Your number 3 Busen is probably the Chief. And I would say your number 4 Bruin is going to be Patrice Bergeron over Cam Neely, over Espo.
I was just about to say, Cam Neely, man, if you think about, like, I love Cam Neely. Cam Neely was, what, a 7 to 8 year span at most?
You know what Cam Neely is? He's the
seriously
guy. He's the hot sports car that you get, or the hot chick that you bang until she gets ugly, and then you're like, hey, it was great while it lasted.
How many years consistently was he really with the Bruins before he started to have all the knee problems?
Only 3. You forget to remember, Cam had a short career.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He only had, like, I think he had 3 or 4 years, and then the injury started, and he only had, what, an 8-year career, I think, with the Bruins?
I think
maybe
just
even less.
in my opinion, I believe because he was so powerful and dominant
Yeah.
and such a game changer that he's in your brain etched.
Well, he
You know what I
created the
mean?
power. He
Because of
created
those.
power forward position in
Yep.
hockey. There
Yep.
was no such thing as a 6'5", 240-pound, 230-pound guy that could kick the shit out of you and score 50 goals
Yep.
until
But I
he
mean,
came into the league.
and then to me, the next transcending Bruin they got rid of.
Who?
To me, would have been Joe Thornton because that was the guy everybody was looking at to change the franchise.
That was what you called. That was in the dark days of the Bruins under Mike Conley.
Yes.
Although that trade did lead to a lot of future trades that ultimately built the Bruins 2011 Stanley Cup championship. Yep. But yeah, they gave up a little early on Joe, but that was a poor decision. And
but to me, like because of the way he was drafted, like
I remember
and back then
he was supposed to be the next big thing.
We all read the newspapers, and I believe local sports meant more to us. And I remember Joe Thornton, the way they broke him in because he was so young that he lived with a local family that he's still in touch with to this day.
Yeah, he also lived with Sean Bates too, and cops had to show up a few times to parties that I know all about. He lived in Medford. So, but anyways, let's not talk about Joe.
So
it was about
I'm just saying, for Patrice to last 19 years, and not only the 19 years he did, what do you have? The six
Selke, record 6 Selke awards, 3 Stanley Cup Finals, 1 Stanley Cup championship.
And I believe if things had gone the right way, he probably should have seen a couple more over that span. But they are what they are.
He should have saw. Technically, the Bruins should not have lost the Stanley Cup Finals in 2013 or
how long do you think it'll take before they do the Bergeron night? Will it be this year?
They'll have an appreciation night, but they're not going to. It usually takes them a year to retire a number.
Yeah, you don't think they'll go out because of how it's the centennial year and they're doing all these tributes?
But I'll tell you
that's what I'm thinking because
that's going to be
adding more to the hurrah. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, and I'm going to leave it on this note. For me, I applaud him. He is one of my all-time greatest Bruins. He is going to be missed. I'm just shocked he didn't finish the. For me, it would have been nice to see him finish his career on the centennial year. But I get it.
Yeah.
But hey, it's time for the new breed of Bruins to come in. But
so
let's go
90 seconds. Who and why should he be the next captain of the Boston Bruins?
Brad Marchand, because he is the next to Bergeron. He's that leader in the locker room. You got to remove the antics, but he is the voice of the Bruins. He is who they look to. He breathes, eats, sleeps Boston Bruins, just like Bergeron did. I think it's time for McAvoy, in my opinion, is still a little young.
Hold on to the McAvoy. Stick on the Marchand. I'm going to rebuke on whatever you're talking about. Stick to it. You paused.
But Marchand, he's a seasoned veteran. He is the voice of that locker room. That team plays behind Marchand, and that's who should be the next leader of that team.
Okay, this is how I'm going to feed you into the McAvoy. The con. Oh, believe you me, there's tons of pros on the Marchand that I'm right around with you. The con that everybody seems to believe is, and this is a lot of the guys that obviously in the hockey and sports world, is that Marchand is still looked at as more of like
a rat.
Yeah, like Kenny Linsman. But if you rewind the archives of the NHL world, I believe at one time when Kenny the Rat Linsman played for the Philadelphia Flyers, he wore the C on his chest. So with that being said, that's the con to the con, or the pro to the con that people are talking about. Okay, I love the longevity of Marchand. Okay, but here's the big con to the Marchand thing. How much longer is Brad Marchand a Boston Bruin?
You don't give a cap.
No, I know that.
Captain due to longevity.
I understand that, but this is one thing. Hear me out, and I love that you don't, because I think Marchand should get it. But the big thing is what people were saying is, because why not start everything now and get to that? Because Bergeron is, Marchand is part of the Bergeron era, so to speak. Why not start with McAvoy and get into the Charlie McAvoy era of the Boston Bruins, knowing that Charlie's going to be around a lot longer than Marchand, but knowing that Charlie has a bit of a sour spot in him, and is known to shoot off and get a little baby toward the media, so they say. So now I turn it to you. What do you say about the McAvoy thing? If it was, give me the cons. Hit me up.
So I get what you're saying, and I get what people might say about that situation. Here's the thing. Again, I'll go back to, you name a captain based off of what they bring to the team, not their age, not the era that they're going to start. And here's the thing. They need, Bergeron learned under Chara and became a voice under Chara. Much like Marchand became a voice under Bergeron, it is Charlie needs to become that voice under McAvoy. Under Brad. And that's the thing. You got to learn to lead. You got to learn to follow before you can lead, and then learn how to lead people by example. And to be honest with you, McAvoy hasn't even been the assistant captain. You got to remember, the assistant captain this year has kind of bounced around. The one constant assistant captain was Brad Marchand.
Yep.
McAvoy was assistant. Pastrnak was an assistant. Krejci was an assistant. Carlo was an assistant. But the one constant has always been Marchand.
It's funny you bring that up. There was a dark horse, and this was on either yesterday or the day before. But Brandon Carlo.
No, he's not leadership material.
Yeah,
no, never.
Because he's young generation.
That was pretty.
Yeah.
He should be fucking traded. Never mind on the Bruins.
Absolutely. That's all the Felger and Maz talk. Felger's a huge believer on Carlo should be out the door. These were just things that they were talking about, and one of the last name that came up, and Felger started giggling, and Maz is like, "What are you giggling at, Felger?" And he's like, "A dark horse, Brandon Carlo," and Maz is like, "We know how you feel about him, But anyways, yeah. And Carlo's always been one I've heard that's always been on the, why is he even with the Bruins? He should be on the way out.
6'6" and can't hit for shit. Anyways, so regardless, that's our Bruins talk.
That's the Bruins stuff.
Let me lead us into the next segment. So, the Boston Celtics handed out the richest contract, and I get by the market, in NBA history to Jaylen Brown, a 5-year guaranteed deal, $304 million, to be the highest paid player in NBA history, and he's not even a top 10 player in the league. Question.
Go ahead.
Are you ready?
So before you go with the question, can I tell you this?
I get
his contract. No. His contract, along with other people's contracts in other sports, is the problem we're having with certain parts in sports in general. But that's a whole different subject. But go on. I just wanted to say that.
Questions. Question number one. I'm going to ask you two questions, and I'll let you answer them. For your first question is, Did the Celtics make the right move in extending him with this number one deal? And number two, would you still trade him based off of what it's going to look like in 2 years? You may have to, because in 2 years, you're going to have two players eating up 90% of your salary.
Oh, I know all about it. I was talking with. That's what we talked about the last time.
I turn it over to you now. First question. Did the Celtics make a mistake?
No, they had. Can I tell you something? This is one of those things where legitimately, it's like holding the guy over a ledge that's going to sign your check. Okay, the only way this guy is going to sign your check is you have to pull him up from the ledge. Okay. The Celtics were hamstrung. They had to. There's no other way around it. It's the problem with the way that contracts in general.
But why do you say they had to? They could have traded him.
Well, at this point in time, okay, so I think you're going to see many teams do what they're doing right now, is not giving up a lot for an unknown anymore. And that's a whole different subject when we talk about Major League Baseball at the end, where there was teams that had underwhelming trade proposals for one Shohei Ohtani. So I believe that you're going to see other teams, especially when you got a guy that's got 1 year left, okay, and it's not a guarantee that he's going to stay there, especially because if he had left, he's still going to get a supermax deal, but the supermax deal he's going to get is going to be low, but it's going to be low with any team. So now you not only have to please Jaylen Brown if you were to get him. And I think you're going to see a lot of teams say, why should I? I think you're going to see just like I believe it's going to be very hard for the Trailblazers to get rid of Dame Lillard, no matter what you want to say. Hold up. It's Dame time.
No. What I was going to say
is, hear me out.
Kind of hard to move a guy.
Absolutely. But it's not even that. You're talking 32, 33 years old. A lot of mileage on the legs. It's just like giving up for 1 year. You know what I mean? And I think that's why the Celtics did what they had to do. And I believe that with getting rid of Marcus Smart, I believe that Brad and the others said, you know what? Okay. Because I think that behind closed doors, I believe Jaylen and Jason both orchestrated.
Oh, 1,000%, I agree.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
so now I think that they're like, Brad's like, okay, now I just gave you your contract. JT goes in 2 years. He's gonna get his. Everything's gonna get restructured. Things are gonna work out. Because when they win and money's coming in, things will change.
Well, I was going to ask you that question.
Okay, now, hear me out.
Let me ask you a question real quick. You just said something I got to ask you. You said when they win it. Do you honestly believe that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown
have
the formula to win a championship here in Boston?
What I mean by win it, now they're forced. Okay. Now they're forced. Because Brad said, okay, I gave you the guy you liked in Missoula. Okay, now this year, I gave your boy his money. I got rid of Marcus, who you guys want to say is the disruption to let you guys lead this team, okay? Not only that, when he gets rid of Marcus Smart, they got a legit guy okay, that when he broke into the league was a number one option of his team until his knee went. Now is feeling rejuvenated, no matter what anybody wants to say that he played in Washington and he was a number two behind Beal. You are in the NBA and he had the numbers he had. Now that guy comes to a team like the Boston Celtics.
We're talking about Porzingis?
Yes.
Okay.
And does not have to have any type of pressure other than being the third, maybe the fourth, maybe the fifth best on certain nights, knowing now that the good thing is if you keep that Brogdon, we keep Malcolm Brogdon, who was the sixth man of the year, before ever coming here was
now, right?
Okay. Before that was the NBA Rookie of the Year. You're able to say to Brogdon, compete for the starting role. And White's already, you know what I mean? He's got Derek White's got no problem coming off the bench. You know what I'm saying? So I think that the Celtics have very motivated tools where you only got to worry about 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5 options. Just got to do their job. Porzingis comes into a very, very unstressful but stressful situation. That's what people don't realize. The guy is just going to be expected to stay healthy, and when he goes in, do your job. If you can get a double-double out of Porzingis to average that a night, get 15 to 18 out of him with anywhere from 12 to 15 rebounds, 2 to 4 blocks a night, along with like Derek White putting in 15, Brogdon putting in 18 to 20, Brown getting 26, JT getting 30 to 31. And if you can get Williams to get a dozen, how are you stopping numbers like that? Theoretically.
Okay, I'm going to ask the question again. Does the tandem of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, in your opinion, have what it takes now? We've seen it for 3 years. Can they bring a championship to the Celtics and bring Banner into it? Because you've just invested what's ultimately going to be 45% of your roster.
I know that.
In Jaylen Brown, and in 2 years.
So I'm just going to put it this way, and I'm going to say this. They have no choice. Both of these idiots
have no choice. They have
no choice.
In your opinion,
can they
have?
Yeah,
they can.
Yes.
Do they have what it takes?
Yep. Yes, I do.
You think they can?
Yep. I think 2 years ago against Golden State, if they honestly, Jaylen Brown was your best player in those last 2 games.
But he wasn't your best player against Miami.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
He's being played.
I honestly believe with the numbers that they have, and if things go right, I think, like Kevin Garnett says, anything is possible. I think with what's been given now, if they say that these were the things that bothered them, and with the way that I believe things should look, I don't understand why they're not in the NBA championship next year. Because I'm going to say this. Everybody thought that when the guy that's on their bench, Kyle Lowry, when he went to Miami, he was going to be the man that helps Jimmy Butler get over the edge. He didn't help shit. He was on the bench. You know what I mean? So, like, how do we know? What if Lillard's not doing crap right now because he knows that they're not going to be able to? He's not going to end up being able to get on the team he wants because the Trailblazers don't want some shitbag Dylan, whatever his name is there, Robinson or whatever he is. They don't want him.
Yeah, no.
They don't want their crap. And you know what the thing is? They don't want their crappy low end first round picks that they really don't have until 20 freaking years from now. They don't want it. They don't.
I don't blame them. Well, all right. Let's I mean, there's not much more to say. We'll see what happens with the Celtics. It'll be interesting to see how the season starts, and let's hope Jaylen Brown can earn and be a top 10 player in the league, because he's not one now. But let's transition away from Boston to something that is front and center and excitement. I think there's a buzz in the air. There's some excitement now, and that is football season's back, baby.
Football season is back.
So where do you want to start? Do you want to talk predictions for the Patriots? Do you want to talk Jack?
No. I think that we should be. I think we should be talking predictions and things of that nature after the say. I think we should save that as a big time thing after the preseason wraps up.
Starts, and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean.
Couple of key notes here. Lawrence Guy is back with the team. Jack Jones still on the roster and practicing, as I agree with. Lost out in D-Hop. We could talk about that briefly and what that wide receiving corp looks like. And potentially Dalvin Cook is going to New York, but may also be visiting the New England Patriots this week. So where would you like to begin? Do you want to talk about the receiving core and maybe losing out in D-Hop and what that receiving core might look like this year?
All right. Let me just talk a bit about, because I like to listen to certain Patriot podcasts, and one of them is with the Reese Report.
Oh, yeah, the Reese Report, yeah.
And, Phil Reese talking about how the Patriots offense in the past 2 days, things as far as camp-wise goes, it's looked very, very like they know what they're doing this year. Whereas last year, it did not seem like they had a direction going anywhere. So it was positive, and guys and coaches were coaching. But over the past 2 days, the offense really has sputtered from what Mike Reese has reported, along with, if you listen to Zoe and Beetle, the morning show, they are live from Patriots mini camp in Foxborough. And today was what they believe was probably the worst day the Patriots offense had. And, they didn't make any excuses because of the hurricane-like winds in Foxborough, and from what I hear in Massachusetts, the winds are really bad, and those winds are making their way up to the great upper north part of Maine, where I'm at, down east to be exact. But the defense is looking good. Gonzalez with the ones. And he's looked good, they're saying. So with that being said, listening to Mac Jones's press conference yesterday, really talking very good about Bill O'Brien, and saying he believes things are okay between him and Bill Belichick. Listening today to Coach Belichick's press conference after practice wrapped up, and having one reporter ask Coach Belichick about how his and Mac Jones' relationship was, if I wasn't listening to it over the radio, and just envisioning the facial effects that you would see on Belichick's face with such a question like that, to, as we know, Coach Belichick could only be. But he answered it, and other than that, not seeing anything, just listening right now. We're just hoping for the best. You know what I mean?
Okay, so we're talking offense, right? You're talking about sputtering. So I want to tie that into, we obviously now know that we don't have what I would call that elite number one wide receiver. We didn't get D-Hop. He went to Tennessee. Our number one receiver likely is going to be Devontae Parker.
Yep.
But what do you see in this receiving core now that you have it's a receiving core? And I just want to make a couple notes to you.
Yeah, I got you.
We're looking at a receiving core that is probably much like the 2011, 2012 Patriots when they had, the average receivers. They had the dual threat in Gronk and, Aaron Hernandez.
Yes.
Aaron Hernandez before he became a murderer.
Yeah.
That offense was run by Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
You had that, so we have that now again with Mike Grzelecki or whatever you say, Grzelecki, and then you have
Gesicki.
Gesicki, that's what it is. You got Hunter Henry, both receiving type tight ends, and then you have your Devontae Parker, you have your Kendrick Bourne, who could be a big sleeper this year, and you have the rookie Tyquan Thornton from last year. What do you think this receiving core is going to look like?
All right. So, with that being said, how about I believe that there's two guys in the Patriots system that last year were both held back by having Joe Judge and Matt Patricia as part of the offense.
Are you going to say Ramondre Stevens, one of them?
Nope. He shined, baby. He shined. He was far from held back.
Please don't tell me you're going to say him. All right, so who do you got? Let's hear it.
Kendrick Bourne.
I agree 1,000%. 1,000%.
So, hear me out. By the fourth game, if this receiving core stays what it is, Kendrick Bourne by the fourth game of the year will be the Patriots' number one receiver and will be shining under Bill O'Brien.
Is Kendrick Bourne? I'm going to ask you this question real quick. Hold on.
This
ties in. Bill O'Brien, much like what's his face there,
Josh McDaniels.
They love that slot or that receiver that eats up the catches. Is Kendrick Bourne our next Wes Welker, Julian Edelman receiver?
I'll put it to you this way. I honestly believe that Devontae Parker is much better slated for the slot and being a Welker-style receiver, whereas I think Bourne's more better off being alone and being that one that can stretch. But the thing is, Parker's an up-and-get type of guy, so that's why he's on the outside. But Bourne, coming from the West Coast offense, is great for the inside because he's used to the slant. So, yes, I believe Parker can be that type of guy. Yeah, I'm not Kendrick Bourne. I believe Kendrick Bourne is the sleeping giant in the Patriots receiving core.
I'm glad you believe this is because he's my sleeper in my dynasty football league.
Okay, so yeah, I won't mention any more for the people and once you share this, then hear that you like him, so that they draft him just to
I ain't sharing this until after I get him.
So I believe he's the sleeping giant. I believe Billy O'Brien. Okay, do you know what I used to love about the old school Patriots?
When we say
for the past 20 years.
Okay, yep.
How many years did they have such a shitty preseason? Think about it.
They never really had shitty preseasons, though.
Not shitty. Yeah, 2-2, but didn't look all that great. Yeah. And it was the system guys at the end that really shined because they weren't running what the Patriots were.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying that.
Right.
Okay. But I think with O'Brien coming up, it wouldn't surprise me if you don't see the best Patriots offense until the legit last preseason game of the year.
I don't think you'll even see it then. Because if you remember, they're very coy with their offense. They don't like to give away a lot, and I think we're not gonna see a lot of the two tight end schemes that they may have. But I think you're right. I am 1,000% on board with you. I think Kendrick Bourne is the sleeping giant of the receiver. Who is the other player you're talking about?
I believe Mac Jones is the second guy, is obviously the top guy that really, I believe he hindered from the the abortion of what was done to them. So those are the two guys that I believe hindered most from last year's offensive abortion that the Patriots had put out. Yeah. So with that being said, when you ask me, how's this? I'm gonna go ahead. I believe because of the way the Patriots play, I think catching backs and backs out of the backfield have always been a Patriot staple in our offense. If you look at it, and
so do they sign Dalvin Cook?
I love Cook, but I will not be mad if you would if they would assign Leonard Fournette. Fournette was number 3 in backs with catches out of the backfield last year. And everybody says, oh, he caught those because Brady had nothing else to do. And that was, the only guy to throw to. Well, that he was open. I hate hearing that crap. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So what? In order for it to be a catch is what people don't realize. He has to go beyond the line of scrimmage.
That's right.
So even if he goes 2-3 yards beyond the line of scrimmage with the Patriots offensive line, which I'm going to get into, I did not get into what Mike Reese and others have reported, that the big man on the outside, Trent Brown is looking good, and took what was said about him and said, oh, yeah? So, it's a contract year.
Of course.
If Trent Brown plays the way he did, he's the way he's capable of, imagine Fournette coming out of the backfield catching that ball. Imagine the Stevens, whatever, Lamondre catching the ball. So to me, it don't matter if it's Cook. It don't matter if it's Leonard Fournette. It don't matter if it's one of these new guys. The Patriots need a guy that can catch the ball. So if the two guys ahead of you were Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler, and then it's Leonard Fournette, that means he got hands.
You're right.
Christian McCaffrey, I believe, the offense is revolved around him in Carolina and now in San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken.
San Francisco, they have no weapons.
That's what I'm saying, but it don't matter. They went further because if you remember on the trade, San Francisco, they didn't have McCaffrey those first 2 weeks. Once they got McCaffrey, San Francisco went to the top, and that was with a guy who was the last pick in the NFL draft. The third string, but he was the third string quarterback.
Yes, I know.
So,
and I think the Patriots, knowing how the Patriots are, they're not going to sign Dalvin Cook.
Nope.
They're going to sign a Leonard Fournette because they're going to get Fournette for a third of the cost.
And when people hear me talk about this, they're going to be like, "Oh, he's just like Bill." That I'm not commending Bill if he thinks like that, but I honestly believe that in our division this year, Buffalo lost a lot on defense, okay? Allen never had surgery on his elbow. He opted to rest. So Allen is an elbow injury away. With Miami, 2 is a hit away. And all Aaron Rodgers is history. Last year, he didn't have a great year. It don't matter that he was in Green Bay, and people want to make that. So now he comes to New York, and Sauce Gardner gives him a blingy chain, and it resurges me. We'll see about that.
Right.
To me, people are talking about the AFC East so much. I believe the AFC East is the biggest question mark in all the NFL. It has question marks.
Well, I think it's the most. I think the AFC East.
They were talking last year.
A lot of story to it.
That he had a partial tear in his UCL. UCL that's Tommy John, man.
I know.
That's all he is. That's all he is away from messing himself up once again.
And two
is a hit away. 2 is a hit away from being done with and being you know what I'm saying? And Aaron Rodgers, you got to ask him yourself, can he resurge?
I agree. And
it don't matter what you give him for weapons. Just look at the San Diego Padres. Just look at the New York Mets. You can spend all the money. You can give them all the tools you want in the world. You have to get along. You have to have the same common goal, and that is to give it up for your teammate. If you're not willing to do that, you will do nothing than just take the money from the owner of that team and waste everybody else's time. The best division in the NFL is the division with Pittsburgh, Cleveland.
We could talk about that when we go preseason thing. We'll get into that. I may disagree. I think there's another division we can talk about because there's a division that has the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Giants.
Absolutely. So we'll have an NFL preview in a couple of weeks. We need to take a quick timeout, bathroom break. We'll be back in 60 seconds. And we are back. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother.
Excellent.
All right. Let's go. Let's get into it. Let's get into your team.
That's absolutely right. Now,
I'm not going to lie. Hey, I did watch. I've been watching a little bit more. I did actually, thankfully, was able to catch one of the best baseball games around, the Portland Sea Dogs. Love watching them play. They got their asses kicked when I saw them, but last night, I got to watch the future of this team, a kid that reminds me of Pedro Martinez and Brian Bello. But let's get into the Red Sox because I think the Red Sox, you said it, are they buyers? Are they sellers? They are a game. What are they, a game or a game and a half out of the third wild card spot?
Absolutely.
They are, 5 games out of first, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're 5 games out of first. I forget how many games out of first they are.
9 games out of first place.
9 games out of first. But the problem with this team has been, and we talked about this in the past, and it is very noticeable. They win, they go and beat teams like Atlanta is considered the best team in baseball right now. By columnists, they say Atlanta's the best team. They have the best record. And the Red Sox sweep them in a 2-game series. However, the Red Sox will then go and blow a fucking 3-game series to the Oakland Athletics, the worst team in the league. And you're not going to gain, you and I both know in baseball, you can't gain ground if you can't beat those teams.
Yeah.
So you started it. Are they buyers or are they sellers?
Since the last time we talked right before the break. And then they came out of that. Yes, they did. They lost a couple of games that they should have had against Oakland. But at the same point in time, before the All-Star break, Oakland had a little mini hot streak of their own. When it all comes to push and shove, it's professional baseball. You know what I mean? Every dog has their day. And I'm just going to put it at this. Everybody can say that's the only bad part people can say about the month of July for the Red Sox, because the Red Sox have the best record in Major League Baseball for the month of July at 15-4. Okay? But that could all turn around in August to being the worst record of the month. You know what I'm saying? They could be 4-15 in August at this point in August. So,
all right. So
this is where I'm going to say this. Should they be buyers? Should they be sellers? So I'll give you a fan's perspective. If I was a fan like Jimmy Fingers, I'd be like, selling, we the buying, you know what I mean, or whatnot, and trying to just get this, that, and the other. I think right now the Red Sox have 4 viable outfielders that you should not get rid of. Okay,
we're talking Verdugo, Duran. Yeah, who? Duvall,
and Yoshi. I believe that you need to, if you want to try and do something, you need to have those 4, because if somebody goes down, everybody's a viable every day right there. You know what I mean?
I don't disagree with any of that. So
okay, so with Casas coming into his own, okay, he's been hitting better. All the critics, even Maserati's hopping along the fucking Casas train. Casas is coming into his own. Okay, I think if Story is able to come up and play, not come up, but come back and play, I believe it's an upgrade to the defense. Okay,
where did go though? Second short.
So, with that being said,
Story was meant to come to be a shortstop.
He is, yes. But I believe, just in my own opinion, with him, I think no matter what, shortstop, there's a little bit more wear and tear on his arm.
Yep, I agree.
So if I was him, I would want to play second base for the rest of the year. And if in a perfect world, I would love to. I think Yu Chang has looked pretty good at shortstop. His bat's coming along, but in the perfect world, talking trade, I'd like to. I think that's the one place, other than a viable, say, 3rd or 4th starter, because I believe the Red Sox right now, with all of the people that are coming back, no matter what, it gives depth everywhere in all facets of the pitching, whether it's starting and or bullpen. I think that they could use a viable major league shortstop and a viable arm in the rotation. The viable arm that I would have loved to have seen in that rotation was one Lucas Giolito, who last night went to the California Angels, or the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, whatever the frick they're called. Yep. And the shortstop, the 2 shortstops that have been rumored to go to the Boston Red Sox is the Chicago White Sox shortstop Tim Anderson and the shortstop of the St. Louis Cardinals, Paul DeLong, I believe his name is. And those are the 2 guys. I wouldn't mind seeing the DeLong thing, because DeLong, he plays either or. He came up as a shortstop, broke into the major leagues as a second baseman, and has played shortstop now for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's come up through their organization. He's a solid hitter. He hits anywhere from 10 to 15 home runs. He's got his little RBIs, but he's a solid 250, 265 hitter. But his fielding is where it's at. And that, to me, the Blue Jays are choke artists as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely, every year. All right,
so do I believe that? No, I don't believe the Red Sox should do anything with what they have in their farm system. No, I don't believe. I think they should. I think if anything, you look for something that somebody's trying to cast off. If not, this year's a plus, man. Like I said, if I'm Chaim Bloom, I don't care what any people are saying out there. Right now, I look at my job and I say, okay, I got the 14th. I'm down to the 14th payroll in Major League. If I was in other divisions, I'd be in first place. On my board was marked 2025 when I wanted to literally say that I was a legit top 2 contender in the East, back like a bat. But I'm here in 2023. I'm letting these guys who are part of the 2025 regime, which is a Cassis, which would be a Devers, which would be a Duran, which would be a Bello, which would be the kid behind the plate that's developing to being one of the best catchers in Major League Baseball, in Connor Wong, who we haven't even talked about. So the Red Sox, under everybody's complaining eye, because they want a penny pinch or because they want to do these things, it sucks to say, but I'm not a Bluminati. But the things that he has sort of laid out in ways and shapes and forms, along with having one of the top minor league systems in all of baseball right now, I believe what is going on in Boston, and these are his guys now that he can say that he's grooming. So I think things are good right now. I think you only sell for the right option. That's my honest opinion. You only sell for the right option.
All right, so let me ask this question. We're talking about buying and selling. I'm going to give you a name. I'm going to ask you the question. So first, let me give you the name. Chris Sale. All right, first question is, would you move him at the deadline if you could? Second question is what is his value? What would we get back in return? So
what's his value? If you listen to, okay, hear me out.
Would you move him?
Okay, so if you listen to Sam Kennedy, he's one of the guys that you're looking at as coming back off the injured list.
I get that.
As being a trade line person. It would matter where. Like, if you're telling me in the AL East or in the AL in general, no, I'm not getting rid of Chris Sale in the playoffs, because I think a smart team, if anything, puts him at the right spot in time, manages his minute. Yes. Why not? If I was a team, if I was the Red Sox, you know what I'd do with Chris Sale? I'd do what we're doing with Pivetta.
Make him the setup man?
It's not a setup man, but Pavetta's coming in at the third inning and going 4 or 5 innings. They call that the bullpen game.
Yeah, I know.
From what I hear right now, because Pavetta's come alive, Pivetta could be a trade asset at the line, but why would you want to get rid of him? He's one of you've moved him to the pen and put him in that role. He comes in, he pitches 4 or 5 dominant innings right now. After you got a guy that goes 1-2, why not do the same thing with Chris Sale? Why not just put Chris Sale in the bullpen? And you got these other guys, the Winkowskis and these other guys of the world. Crawford's looking good. I just believe that if I'm Chaim Bloom, I'm looking at it this way. I only believe they were going to be a team that finished at 500, 2 games over at best. I said it. You know what I mean? I said it. Right now they are overdoing what I believe.
Are they overachievers?
Yeah, I do. But I honestly believe something too, Capelli, or the Great Gazoo, because I'm not the only one that said my analogy. To hear it on a major Boston sports talk radio when Jim Murray said, and I repeat, last week on Felger and Maz, said, what if those Red Sox, what if everybody in that clubhouse, along with Alex Cora, are looking at this as a major league style thing. All right?
And pulling the fucking things off and saying.
And pulling the things off. Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's only one thing left to do, Skip. What's that? Win the whole fucking thing.
That's what I'm saying. And you guys all, and you snicking at me and said, no, why would they do that? Because nowadays, pal, everybody's listening. And if you don't think those guys hear that day by day, you're even more with this generation that can't, like, my son is glued to a phone. These kids that are playing now are all on the Red Sox. Cassis, 25 and under. That dude's glued to social media. Guaranteed. Durant, same thing. I think with the, you know what I mean? I think the Red Sox are winning out of spite. I believe they're 100%. I believe they're 100% ahead of schedule. Yes, 100%, and his value is $0. It's a nice salary dump, Gazoo. Yeah, I mean, if you could get rid of Chris Sale, honestly, for a bag of balls and some fucking bats and maybe a helmet or two and an elbow protector, I'm willing to listen to it. Because realistically, what has he done when he's come back? Past 2 years, he's looked kind of good. Then all of a sudden gets injured. He gets
hurt again, right?
Yes. But understandable. When you feel the ball with your hand or whatever he did last year to break his hand, that's a boneheaded move. But this year, he basically broke his back by overthrowing a baseball. How the fuck do you do that?
Because your name's Chris Sale.
Yes. So, but I mean, yeah. Like if the Dodgers are willing to talk to you, because the Dodgers are willing to take anybody right now.
Yeah, they just took Kike.
Yep. But I ain't giving him to the Angels or anybody, or I ain't giving him to Houston, because what if you do make the playoffs? What if you make the wild card and it's 2-3 and you got to face Houston in a 1-game playoff in Houston and Chris Sale comes out to pitch a 9th inning and shuts you down?
I agree.
You know, and all you got to do is throw one batter. You don't think Chris Sale's reaching back and going to say, fuck you, Boston? I don't want that type of thing. Maybe in the World Series to face that, yes, but I don't, you know, and I don't even want that to say you got to end somewhere, and he's the pitcher that determines your end that weekend, that the 3-day weekend you have, you got to take 2 out of 3. He determines your 2 out of that 3, that last game of the year. You know what I mean? That's all I mean. But yes, I'm willing to listen to a Chris Sale. But in all honesty, I think the Red Sox are good where they're at. In a perfect world, if you could give up a little to get a shortstop and an arm you can put in the rotation, I'll take that. Because right now I feel like I'm at the casino and I'm playing with house money with the record we have, and it is what it is.
Okay.
We still got August and September. What if the team legit falls apart? What if the people you put in there aren't what you gave away? What if you gave Duvall away? What if you gave up? What if you gave it? What's his name? Verdugo away, because people say now that you should get rid of Verdugo, so you're not going to think about Mookie no more. Can I tell you something? If Connor Wong keeps on coming on the way he does,
Yeah.
throwing people out, hitting well over 250, hitting key home runs, playing a real good defensive catcher. You got you got a legit better than average right fielder in Verdugo. He's not the greatest. He's not the best. But
Right.
with his numbers and what he's averaging this year, his numbers are number one numbers in right field right now. So it's going to be funny when he's up for a Gold Glove at the end of the year and Connor Wong ends up winning like most improved player in Major League Baseball. And people start to say, wow, other than the other guys, Gina Downs, that Mookie Betts trade looks pretty decent, not great. But for a guy that I know we hop on this, as much as we want to say it and as much as we want to give Mookie, he all in out never wanted to be here.
All right.
From what I understand, do you know he never wanted to be here from the get-go when he was drafted by the Red Sox? He was extremely disappointed being drafted by the Red Sox, and it first had to do because they took him out of second base where he was, where that's as a prospect he was a top 10 major league prospect at second base, and they decided to move him to center field. He was heated about that. It's because Pedroia was ahead of him.
Well,
and I guess there was some heat with him and Pedroia because Pedroia had a mouth on him. If you do know, it was Pedroia, and who was the guy back in the day that was the shortstop or the second? Ian Kinsler. Him and Ian Kinsler went to the same college, and they got
out. Yeah.
And he was like, Kinsler, this is my fucking place. And he's like, I'll beat you like a bitch. And they both of them fought after practice, and Kinsler ended up going to a whole new college the year after. So from what I understand, and the Red Sox brass wasn't willing to, smooth things over between Petey and Mookie. So people don't understand that. I believe they're saying that a lot of it had to do with some past history like that when ultimately it came down to him being in Boston. And I can understand that. You know what I mean?
You talk about heat. I want to transition real quick into a quick 90 seconds. Did you happen to catch any of the David Ortiz stuff with the Bobby Valentine year?
No, I did not.
Okay, so David Ortiz was a surprise guest on Toucher and Rich, and they were talking about the year of Bobby Valentine, and David Ortiz flat out called Bobby Valentine an absolute clown. There was a lot of turmoil. He went into some of the things. Ultimately, Bobby Valentine was an absolute idiot. Probably one of the black marks in the last 20 years of the Boston Red Sox. Hands down. It was a great conversation. It was great hearing it from a player's perspective. But, I mean, I think you'd have to agree David Ortiz is a pretty well-respected individual. I don't expect him to exaggerate, make up stories. And he was pretty blunt about what happened.
Yeah.
Talking and how the guy, the stuff Bobby Valentine was doing, just, with his expectations and his methods and the way he was talking to players, it was not pretty. It was a bad decision in the tenure of Dave Dombrowski.
Yeah, hey.
So,
and then they got Alex Cora.
And then they won the World Series the next year.
Yeah.
So, all right, so let's transition. We've got our Red Sox talk. We've talked all major sports. Let's do a little and I know Jimmy Fingers may be listening to us, but let's do a little let's talk about it. We got SummerSlam coming up this weekend.
So, I'm going to say this right here.
SummerSlam this weekend.
Now, you took me to court over a bet that I made with Fingers, okay?
No, I took you to court.
Now listen. Hold up. But you never, you don't understand. I put the wager up. His was never a wager. His was some freaky deaky stuff that just I ain't willing to produce. So it was money or nothing.
Okay.
So then, remember when I had said, now listen, when I had said that they're not going to go over 75,000 seats because of the way things were slated. Well, evidently they changed the slating of the seats because now it's over 78,000. Okay. And I'm just waiting for the Vimo. I got Cash App. Just find me, Jason Delegata, and I'm willing to take the hundo any day.
I told you. I said it flat out. I called you out, and I'll call him out too.
And that's all. Listen, if this event was held in the U.S., I would absolutely never have said something like that. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like, it's. So this is what I'm gonna say. SummerSlam could draw those numbers in Detroit if they was willing, and I know they need. So, if the Brock Lesnar Cody Rhodes match was to happen in AEW, and this was the last chapter of a match, I would guarantee you this, that right now, that match would be under bull rope, cowbell.
It's a gimmick, though. You know that.
It don't matter, dude. It was Dusty Rhodes.
I know.
It was the dog collar style match.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, what's that gonna do?
Leading into SummerSlam.
Okay.
I honestly don't believe, and I'm unless they're giving away these tickets for free, who the heck is coming to the Ford Field, the home of the Detroit Lions, to watch this event that really, to me, you see it. I love Cody to death. I love Roman to death. But those two guys on who they're facing, along with the other matches, just don't seem like
what?
That's 20,000 fans to me at an arena.
No. You're missing the big picture here, pal. You're talking. You have to think. WWE, obviously, it's WWE, but Detroit is a massive wrestling market. Because you got to remember, Detroit. It's a hard. That is the hard.
I understand. Gazoo, I agree with you a lot. I do. I agree with you a lot. But you got to hear me out. There's certain matches on that card, like the one you can't tell me, like that Cody Rhodes Brock Lesnar match has to have. If they was willing to amp it up, like it needs to be a Dusty style match. If these are hard times, you can't tell me that, you know what I mean? It wouldn't mean that much more. Does main event Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, like to me?
We are already doing that match. You can't. All right, so let's talk.
It's just.
I hear what you're saying.
In me right now, I don't think like. As far as when you go to the Ford Field, you're talking a venue that probably sits anywhere from 70 to 80,000 people for football. So anything other than like 50,000 is realistically, honestly, I don't even think that's good for a WWE event.
They're going to have 68, 70,000 people there.
You really believe that?
Absolutely, 1,000%, dude. It's a WWE pay-per-view.
Dude,
the Boston Garden, I get it, Texas strap match and all that, but the problem is you're never gonna get that. So let me get back to my point. What you were saying is,
I think they get way more fans. I think more people. I think. The allure of the event, if that stipulate like an old school stipulation was brought in for like that start for that match? Because let's face it,
You
hear
already
me out.
have it that night. You already have it. You're having a tribal combat match. You cannot do a gimmick championship match for the WWE title that is Samoan tribal combat, and then it's Brock and Cody in a Texas bull rope strap match. You can't
In a dog collar match. I believe.
You can't. You already have one gimmick match. You don't put two main events in both gimmick matches. You don't do that. Besides, in real life, you're going to tell me that Cody Rhodes strapped to a chain with Brock Lesnar, the truest, probably the alpha male.
The way that they're putting him over on TV right now, and all the stuff that they're putting through, and the way that Cody is embracing this. Yes, I believe Cody is that crazy enough with the way it's being portrayed over TV that Cody would take a strap, throw it around his throat, knowing that he has Brock Lesnar within 16 feet of him, that he can't go nowhere, and it doesn't matter because it's writing the gimmick.
I get it. Doesn't make sense.
I think you could. I think you could, man. I think you could. You could have two things like that. It's proven. Yes, you could.
It doesn't do well.
If you could have a women's elimination chamber match, and you could have a men's elimination chamber match, you can have
elimination chamber match is different than a gimmick like this type of match.
Of course. But if an elimination chamber match was done before all this stuff without blading and stuff, you'd be and old school rules, you'd be like, well, there is blood in that match. So
let me put it to you this way.
Nothing.
It means nothing if Cody can't beat Brock outright 1, 2, 3.
I just think
stop.
Maybe all right. So
if Cody
last minute, it has to be. How about in order
gimmicks needed?
Yeah. Or last man standing.
I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. Right? You have to admit I'm not wrong. If you want Cody Rhodes to be completely over on Brock, end the story and move on, Cody needs to be able to pin Brock. No gimmicks needed. 1, 2, 3. Match is over. He has defeated.
I believe Cody. I believe that's right. Whoever this dude is that's on Twitch that's watching us, Bill DMF, should be a Texas strap match. Absolutely. Absolutely.
If we didn't have
the
tribal combat match, maybe, but you don't need this to be a gimmick match. They should have did that match. The second match should have been the Texas strap match, and then Brock.
So, in my opinion, if Cody's saying this is it, I think it should end I think it should be last man standing.
Why?
Cody said this is.
Why does it have to be a gimmick match? Why can't Cody just pin him like in professional wrestling?
Because every other match has, and you've already seen him pin him 1, 2, 3. The first match. That's all.
The way you end it, you got to end it right.
I'm thinking old school book. I remember back in the day, every feud ended with ended in a cage, ended in a Texas death match, ended in a 2 out of 3 falls.
That's not WWE. I
get you. But hear me out. You're writing Cody Rhodes' story, and Cody Rhodes' story right now is his biggest thing is writing the Dusty thing. Writing.
You're wrong. You are
not wrong.
Dead wrong. Yes,
he wants to do exactly what he wants to do. What Dusty should have did. He wants to do what Dusty should have did. Raise the WWF title up.
But he's not writing Dusty's story. He's writing Cody's story.
He's writing Cody's. He's writing Cody's, but it's in memory. I believe it is. I'm not wrong.
Of the shadow of Dusty.
He's not.
Rhodes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Everybody's told him. You have to build your own legacy, not your father's legacy.
That's why his legacy is winning. That's why his legacy is ultimately winning it. Yes, winning it for himself. But I'm just saying, I think there should be characteristics of the Rhodes features.
Nope. I want to see characteristics of Cody's features.
Well,
you want a way to have the fans turn on him. The fans will turn.
It's a good thing we live in the country we do, and we don't live in Russia under one thing. But I believe there's many people that would want to see it end my way, and there's probably many people that are like, "That's right, let's end it man on man, mano y mano, 1, 2, 3." You know what I mean?
That's again, but this is wrestling, and it's.
I like what this guy just said. Bill DMF said, "Bring the past into the nightmare." I like that.
Well, what is that going to do for what does that do for Cody Rhodes?
I think his past is what fuels his present.
Right, but you can't mix Darling, what the fuck was his name? Dashing Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, but I think that's all the nightmare of the the American Nightmare. Cody Rhodes is outshining what people believed what they foreseed him to be, and now what he knows he is.
That is
yes. So that's what I believe. That's what I believe he is trying to say by bring the past into the nightmare. He brings the past as negative fuel into positive energy for the nightmare Cody Rhodes.
I want to get off of Cody Rhodes because I want to get on to something else that I think you'll agree with me.
Yep.
And it's I understand. Listen, as a writer, as a booker, as somebody who understands this business, I understand how it works. But are you going to fucking tell me that the right move was to put fucking Santo Escobar and fucking Rey Mysterio in a triple threat with Austin Theory and have somebody go over on fucking the hottest thing in professional wrestling right now in LA Knight, at least in WWE, and tell me that if this was an opportunity lost? Because in my opinion, this is where you begin the evolution, or you begin the next steps for LA Knight. You had LA Knight win that triple threat. Win that other contender. Then go on to SmackDown this week, beat Santo Escobar, and you should have had LA Knight start his feud and start something with Austin Theory, which eventually would have led to LA Knight eventually winning the U.S. title.
All right, so
he is, you have to admit, the
right
hottest
now, LA Knight. LA Knight, out of the top 5 shirts in the WWE, he has 3 out of the top 5 selling merchandise T-shirts in the WWE.
Just says LA Knight, yeah, that's it.
So, with that being said, I don't think they're burying him. I think they're testing him.
Burying him, but
no, I believe I'm going to put it to you this way. I think they're testing him. I really do. I don't know. Maybe it's because he thinks maybe there's some backstage attitude that we don't hear about the writers are trying to put back in line.
Supposedly, he's had issues in the past with poor backstage politics.
So maybe that's what they're trying to do rather than give him the push to the moon, see if he can handle what's going on and what they're doing to him.
I'm all about not pushing him to the moon right away, but he should be this.
No, I listen. I agree. He's over with the fans without them creating him to be over.
It's very organic.
Oh my God, is it? Yes, he's organic without the help. But I will say this. There's another guy that's pretty over right now, not as over as him on Monday Night Raw, and a lot of people the last time I said, he's a key player to that circus. His name is Ricochet.
Not like him, though.
Not like
Ricochet's over right now, in my opinion, more because he's going up against Logan Paul, who is very hateable. Yeah. Ricochet becomes very likable.
And he's doing very. But can I tell you something?
People wouldn't over more than Ricochet.
Oh yes, but people wouldn't pay attention if he couldn't get their attention. Well, and I believe Ricochet has grown on the microphone, and that's why he's keeping their attention. And like I said, when he
quick.
first came up from NXT and they gave him that superhero gear and he did the jump into the ring, they were skyrocketing him. And then they pushed him back down because of Twitter, because of stuff that he said on Twitter. And he's been humbled. He was one of the guys that when you went through COVID, I believe him and Austin Theory were the WWE Tag Team Champions, correct?
No, not
him. Or him and not Rick Swan, but him and another guy. But he was one of the main core guys during COVID.
Here's the thing.
With that said,
hold on.
You're absolutely right about LA Knight, but I believe
Ricochet's issue is if it wasn't for Logan Paul, people wouldn't listen to him.
Yep, it's a perfect match.
He's not over.
That's what it's gonna help. It's gonna help get him back into the eye of being somebody that's utilized in a good way for the Monday Night roster. I don't get wrong.
I like him. I just don't think he has the same selling power as a lot of these other guys. But again, LA Knight, absolutely.
LA Knight is genuine right now and is over with the crowd.
As it comes. Even if he was a heel, he'd be an organic heel.
And I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing him be humbled right now, to be honest with you. Why they're not rocketing him to the moon. That's one of the reasons why I honestly believe that Vince McMahon is more in power than what we're entitled to believe. He may not have to be backstage.
But I think that's Triple H too, because Triple H is the same way. I agree with gradual progression, especially if you really want to build the next quote unquote big star, like your next Stone Cold / Rock type character. Maybe we won't get a lot of years out of him, but the years we do get out of LA Knight will be amazing years. But there is no excuse for LA Knight being kept down at this point. He has had his gradual ascent. It is ready to ascend him to the top of the mid card level, which is U.S. champion.
Yeah.
And in a program with Austin Theory would be an amazing fucking program. It would be.
Yep, I agree.
That would be a program with Austin Theory would ultimately be main event material on SmackDown.
I know Forbes. He's being punished for getting over on his own.
Whatever.
So I look at it this way. I'm a huge proponent of if you can get Kofi Mania and it's not Kofi, you got to go with it nowadays, because how long, like pro wrestling right now is at an all-time high everywhere. So you need to, I believe nowadays you should jump on it if you got it. And if LA Knight is as over as he is right now, you need to just erase everything you're fucking doing and come into an old school adage that wrestling is written in pencil, not in pen. That's what I was always told.
That's what we were taught. You write it in pencil because you have an eraser.
It's not that, like, this is why it's misconstrued when people use text in front of you. There's no excuse for LA Knight being kept down. There is. I know there isn't, but to the writers and the people in the back that have things scripted, there is to them.
Agreed.
It is to them.
But there is at a point. Let me point
because maybe they don't want you over at this point as much as you are. It's great you are, but what if they don't want you over like that for another 6 months? It's great to get over on your own.
What would have happened if Stone Cold Steve Austin did his famous promo at the King of the Ring and then they did nothing with it? Stone Cold.
Stone Cold, but they had to jump on it because wrestling was at the shits at that point. You had to jump on it.
But when you have, the lesson learned there is when somebody is red hot.
I think that's why. The only reason why I believe that WWE hasn't jumped on shit like that is because right now your hottest angle that they want you to follow, no matter which program it is they want you to follow the Bloodline angle. And I think right now, listen, hold up. It's still being Monday Night
So you have to admit the bloodline.
Friday, Friday nights are still drawing the numbers.
Friday nights, but it's losing its steam.
Good, that's what we want, because you know what's gaining steam is the Judgment Day. Because Dom and Judgment Day, as much as I was shitting on that group, they're overdue.
See, I love that group. And I've said it, and I love I mean, I would briefly touch on it. Dominic Mysterio in 3 years has come a long way, not just as a character, in the ring working.
Yes.
He looked fucking good the other night.
Dominic Mysterio, and hear me out, Dominic in 2 years will be the man of the WWE.
No, I wouldn't give it 2 years. No. Give it, let's be honest, let's be more like 5 years, not 2.
I'm willing to bet within the next 2 to 3.
LA Knight is the next big thing for the WWE. Not two. Listen, 2 years. It's gonna take him 2 years to become the true.
Meaning that's when the elevation from here to 2 years. His next biggest transition will come 2 years from now, when he will come into when he will honestly become he'll become one of the premier players in the WWE. That's what I mean. I'm not saying he's Roman Reigns in 2 years, but I'm saying he's one of the guys that, like, on the truck, it's his face, basically coming to town.
Quick lightning round here before we wrap things up. I'm going to ask you a question. I want a simple answer: yes, no, or fuck it. Should they turn Bianca Belair heel? Yes, no.
Yes.
Okay. Do you envision the new Hurt Business? Do you like the idea of the new Hurt Business being Bobby Lashley, the Street Profits, and potentially somebody else? Yes, no.
I haven't watched SmackDown in a couple of weeks, so I take it that this is something being run
last week. An angle started where the Profits were walking in the back, and a giant limo pulls up, and out comes Bobby Lashley and says, "Hop in, let's talk," and then they drove off.
Interesting.
Okay.
Is MVP involved in that?
Don't think so. Maybe he will be. Don't know.
In order for it to be a true heel group and get them over as heels, I think you need MVP or you need a heel.
Okay. Should Rhea Ripley, with what they're doing with Rhea Ripley, would you take the belt off of her? Yes or no?
Who are we putting it on?
Don't know yet. I can't answer that question yet.
Then no. Just like Jimmy Fingers is putting down there. I know he's listening. Don't worry about it, Fingers. I think Rhea Ripley and the whole Judgment Day thing right now is at the hottest thing going.
Right, yeah.
As much as
Judgment Day.
Hold on 1 second, just before we go on.
Yep.
With that Barbie movie being out, imagine if Rhea Ripley was a babyface blonde right now. How much money would she be making? Because she'd be Bobby in WWE. Either now go back to what you was talking about.
You mean Tiffany Stratton Barbie in the WWE?
Oh, yeah.
We have it. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Speaking of Judgment Day, would you remove Finn Balor from Judgment Day?
Absolutely, because I think that you're keeping AJ, you're keeping Gallows and Anderson, people like that, stagnant, good talents that you can legitimately. You honestly need to jump. Like, you need to jump on the nostalgia bandwagon and create some type of, old school style Bullet Club. Yeah, man. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. If you were booking, would Jey Uso beat Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble? What? If you were the booker.
Yes. And I have him take off.
I'm talking about Seth Rollins.
Oh man, I love Seth Rollins' gimmick.
Me too.
I hate that he sings and he's joking. I love it. I think it's a fucking great character. It's called entertaining. Evidently, he's doing his job because you can't stand him.
Speaking of taking the title off of Seth Rollins, if I said to you as a booker, Bray Wyatt is coming back to feud with Seth Rollins and will take the title off him, would you like that? Bray Wyatt returns because he had a great feud with Seth Rollins and takes that title off of Seth Rollins.
Who said Bray Wyatt's return?
I'm telling you as a booker. If I'm booking you and I'm telling you I'm your booker, Bray Wyatt's coming back and he's going to take that. That is the next big feud for Seth Rollins.
No.
That title comes
I'll be honest with you, dude.
My
God, come on, Forbes. Hell yeah. Come on. Can I tell you, I'm going to be truthfully honest with you. Okay? I love Bray Wyatt. I love the man with Wyndham
simple
Rotunda.
Yes or no, buddy.
It's not, because it's not a simple yes or no. And it's not a hypothetical because he has ultimate. No, it's not. He has ultimate warrior syndrome where you come back, you create something for him, and all of a sudden he bounces and goes and bounces and goes and bounces and goes. I think when it comes, no, I'm not missing the point, because you're saying right now, if you came to me and came running into my office and I'm the bookie, and you're like,
no, I said I'm the booker. Okay. And I'm telling you what we're doing. Do you like it?
I would have to say, how do we know he's back? Once we take this title on, we put it on him. Is 2 weeks from now? Is it something wrong? Is there going to be something in his head that don't go right, that fucks with the way we're booking? So in a short way, shape, and or form, okay. I think a person like that, to make such a decision on keeping titles credible, I believe you need to know where that person's head's at. You ask me if you would ask me, do you take the title off of Seth Rollins? First and foremost, you got to come up with a person that is willing to show up every fucking night and put what they're willing to put into that title on A, B through Z on what it's being promoted as the fighting man's champion. And when you got mental illness like him that's willing to blow up any day and just take off after wasting millions of dollars on him, I don't know if I could do that again.
Okay. All right, so piggyback off what you just said, who should take the title off of Seth Rollins? Now, we already know what Forbes said. In your opinion, who on Raw should take that title off of Seth Rollins?
I believe ultimately it should come down to Cody and Seth, because Cody and Seth have had a history, okay? And I honestly believe that if you want to write a reversal to everything of the bloodline, wouldn't it be fucked up if Jey Uso wins that belt and now you got to have Roman for the next year or so acknowledge Jey as the fucking tribal frickin' chief? I believe such a reverse. I know you, but I think that would be kind of cool that Roman for the past 3 years has been making his family look like his bitches. Wouldn't it be cool to fucking at least see Roman be a bitch for a while?
All right, so I'm with Forbes on this one. I agree. You can't. If you did that, right?
Yes.
What you're saying, let me finish. Let me finish. If you have Cody win his title to finish the story, as it were, against the guy that he's already beaten and not the title that he was going after, it is a shit ending to the story. That's not what you do. You keep him away from Seth. You have him beat Roman. You have him beat Roman. As much as I want to see main event Jey Uso, I think we both know that's not happening.
So the way I put it is just, I hear you. 100% I agree. Cody would need to beat Roman, but in a perfect world, hear me out, I think right now, so to speak, I think the WWE's at a double-edged. They're at an avenue that is saying, like, wouldn't it be cool if we let Jey beat Roman, and just for even if it was
I would love it, but it ain't gonna happen.
Just think of how they could write Roman now having to bow down in all essence to
That
Jay.
would never happen because you're killing a character you built for 3 years. I know what you're saying, but we know it's never going to happen.
I know it's not, but I think it would be kind of you're looking for stories and something to tune into.
No, Roman. That
okay,
story, the way you do that story is Roman goes away. You would never have Roman bow down to Jay. Now,
that's listen.
I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying, but I think
in a perfect world, that's what I would want to see.
You want to see it, but we also let's be more. We know the business.
In all honesty, we all know that more than likely at WrestleMania, Cody is gonna go on to face Roman and win
some
the
way,
belt.
shape, or form.
Yes,
okay.
That's all.
Are you ready for this next question?
Yep.
Who do you think Cody's next major feud will be with? I'm going to tell you who I think it is, but I would like to hear what you guys think. His next major feud.
I think it's gonna have to be like somebody like an Edge or somebody.
Okay, Edge. Who do you think their sticky fingers? Let's hear it. You get somebody for me? I'm going to tell you who I think it is while Fingers is writing. Okay?
Yeah.
It's not Bray Wyatt either. I read that. I'm going to tell you who I think his next major feud is going to be with. RKO. The returning Randy Orton.
That would be nice.
Which would be a great story because, remember, he was the acolyte of Randy Orton. He was the apprentice. And now it is, Randy. And then Randy snaps, is complete blown heel. And Randy, that would be great.
Man, I want to find one of our older editions because I believe that I brought up Randy and Cody at one point in some time.
You did, yep. And you said if Randy, I think we agreed. I think it would be great. And then let's switch to SmackDown. My final question: after the Bloodline, who is Roman Reigns' next major storyline with? And mine is going to shock you, I think. As this Bloodline kind of teals away, because I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen with the Bloodline. I think Jimmy Uso turns on his brother, returns to the Bloodline, causes Jay to lose the title, which eventually will set up Jay versus Jimmy as they feud to end their feud at WrestleMania. But I think Jimmy interferes. So, anyways, who do you think Roman Reigns' next major feud will be with?
AJ Styles. Oh, yeah, I like that solo Roman.
AJ Styles is on Raw, so it can't be AJ Styles.
Oh, he is on Raw? I thought he was on SmackDown.
No, they're on Raw.
Oh, they're on Raw.
Right?
I never see them.
I think they're on Raw.
I never see them.
No, you're right. They're on SmackDown. That's right. No, wait. Are they on SmackDown or are they on the Raw? I can't remember.
I believe they're on SmackDown.
So I'm going to tell you who I think it is. I think his next major feud is going to be with the face turn of one Austin Theory after he loses his title and turns face.
Yep.
There's a lot of talk right now.
Roman gives him the rub. Roman gives him the rub.
Yes.
Yeah, do you know they look at Austin Theory as John Cena-esque?
That's why I'm thinking this is the move. They do. And I think he's starting to lose. I mean, he's getting it, but I think a face turn is in the works for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think a face turn is in the works for him. I think it would be a good holdover through say Royal Rumble until Cody wins the Rumble, which we know that's going to happen again, or somehow is going to get his match against that. But yeah, that's where I'm at. That's
SummerSlam pulling the same type of numbers that AEW at Wembley pulls in.
I think SummerSlam's going to draw 68 to 72. I think that's what the stadium holds. I think Ford Field holds around that number. I think it'll be close to a sellout. Yeah, definitely gonna be close to a sellout. I mean, it's SummerSlam. It's one of the 4 major WWE events.
Yeah.
So it definitely will because it's SummerSlam. If you told me they were holding Monday Night Raw at Ford Field, no. But a major event, yes.
What is main eventing Wembley? Not one match announced. It don't matter. 78,000 plus and $100 richer.
It's not
It
going to be
don't
Jericho versus
matter.
Sting.
Well,
By the way,
that.
did you see that John Moxley stated he will never return to the WWE? So did Bryan Danielson. Said they and Jericho all said they will never return to the WWE. They have no interest.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it's because they've laid their stakes in AEW, and I'm not gonna lie, I just got done watching Dynamite. I watch Collision. Things are put together better, man. Even Ring of Honor is put together better. The way they're doing things is a lot better.
the only thing that they got is they got more realism. They got a more realism gimmick than the WWE does. That's all they got. It is not put together better. Their writers are not better writers. They put it again. You know what it reminds me of? 1985. I'm watching WWF on one channel, and I'm getting more of the gimmick. And then I'm watching NWA World Championship Wrestling on Saturdays at 6 p.m., getting the Road Warriors versus Magnum TA and Dusty Rhodes, where it's more of a wrestling show. That's all it is, my friend.
Wow.
But I think
that like this week that their story base that they had with Darby Allin and AR Fox along with Best Friends and Orange Cassidy, and then Orange Cassidy at the end duking it out with John Moxley. And the thing about AR Fox and Darby Allin is Darby Allin packed up all his stuff, moved from Seattle to go to Atlanta where AR Fox had a training facility, and they told their story, and then for AR Fox to turn on him at the end of a really good match they had. Like, no, I just AEW over the past 6 to 8 weeks, their programming has gotten a lot different because they're getting different writers involved. The more important, experienced people are finally getting into Tony Khan's ear. So I think it's a totally different product right now.
I've watched it recently.
You know,
I'm going to put it this way. There's nothing for me going, oh, this sucks. And there's nothing going for me going, oh my God, this is fucking awesome. It's bland. It's across the line. It's I get more of the WWE. I'm getting more of especially on SmackDown. I'm getting Raw's been a little bit more stagnant, but the gimmicks have been better. I mean, Jesus Christ, again, fucking, like seeing what they're doing on Raw. I am more invested right now into WWE television because it's just a better product. MJF and Cole has been the only enjoyable thing. It's been the only enjoyable thing. It's the two of them. That's it.
That's right. Last week's Dynamite, the Blood and Guts, was the best Dynamite in a long time. WWE. See, that's where we're at points where I dislike me as a true wrestling fan. I'd love to see the WWE throw a little bit of the old Blizzade into that doesn't have to be every match, but when they have an important match, it would be nice to see a little bit of the Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, but when you're selling a product to a bunch of kids, I get it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
don't get me wrong. I'm an advocate. Like you said, give me one match with the.
You know what I would do? You know what I would do? And I think you could control this. I think if the main event was contested under rated mature, if you were able to put a mature, like a setting on your thing, if you go in and your pay-per-view isn't listed to be mature, once that match goes on, you're not able to view it.
Let me put it to you this way: what channels is AEW on?
It's on TNT.
Okay, And then
and TBS.
and none of it's on FX, right?
No.
I'll tell you right now, if the WWE was on FX at 10 o'clock, you'd have all the blood and guts you could have because for television. But Fox does not allow
All right,
blood
so
and guts.
to end the program, let's just leave it at this because we can pick this up.
Yeah.
And we can pick this up
On the wrestling show.
on the wrestling show. Maybe we can go live on Sunday or sometime next week. But the one thing we need to discuss, if the WWE is to be bought, their TV rights,
yep,
are to go to, say, an Amazon Plus.
Oh, please, God, no.
I know, but what I'm saying is, okay, now, as much as you say, God, no, what if they're given the open range to write the program the way they want it written?
Let's talk about. Let me think on that.
Meaning, no, like, even if it wasn't Amazon, because going to FX to think about this, what does FX what does, other than being interested in probably putting a SmackDown there, would you really put your quote unquote your flagship Monday night show on FX, knowing that the viewership compared to FX compared to USA is probably not even in its the same stratosphere to a certain extent?
I personally think you're going to see the flagship show on a major television network that's not named USA. I think we may see you may see that move to an NBC. You may see that move to Monday night on national television.
Do you think? Okay, so I'll put it to you this way. The only reason why I can believe that is because of the viewership on television. Right. I can see it going to a major network. So if it went to NBC, they'd be able to swear.
No, you can't. NBC national television, they do not swear.
If you watch like I
don't think they're allowed to say fucking shit and all that. Unlike on FX, you can't because that's cable.
Yep. I believe you can say ass.
You can say ass, but you can't say fuck shit. But then again, they don't say that stuff now. They don't really say fucking shit on it. You may hear shit, but you don't hear like fuck.
I'd love to hear some of the things on where you think it might sell to. With it going to the so to speak streaming age of people. I can tell you this. I'm not a huge lover of Peacock. Do you know why?
Neither. To answer your question, I could see it going to it's either going to go to one of two places: Amazon Prime or ESPN Plus.
Yep.
That's where it would wind up. One of those.
Because I'm going to be, I just, you know why I can see ESPN Plus, and this is the whole reason. Where's UFC?
Who owns? Think about it now. Who owns it?
Yes, that's ESPN what I'm saying.
Is owned by Disney, who owns Fox.
Yeah.
Where is WWE? On Fox.
Well, it's not only that, but what I'm saying is who owns the WWE basically now?
Oh, yeah, UFC and
same UFC. Company, yes. So why not be on the same conglomerates? Yeah. That you know what I mean? It makes it that much easier.
Well, I'll say this much: Jeff Bezos has enough money that he could buy the fucking streaming rights. Anyway.
So. I look at it this way. Peacock. I like the WWE network, the app, the old school app itself.
I fucking loved it.
You could like find the matches you wanted by putting in the matches. You can't do that now on Peacock. Like it's very odd. Like I wanted to watch the Greg Valentine, Roddy Piper bull rope match because they've been talking about the Piper thing, and it was something it's not even on the Peacock thing. You can't even find it. It just comes up best of Roddy Piper, and that match ain't even on there. So with that being said, so like the past few pay-per-views, What was the one that they just had during the day? You had to watch it. Oh, Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch the last match. I had to wait 2 hours later because when I went into it,
It was over.
you know, like
Wait.
I was an hour. You hit it, and you're an hour into it, so to speak. So now I hit rewind, okay, and I rewound it to the beginning because it doesn't. It doesn't when you hit play. It doesn't say play now or play from beginning like the site used to do with the real WWE. So I had paused it once or twice. So 5 minutes left in the main event. What do you think happens? It fucking shuts off and then doesn't allow, then it's not released yet for viewing.
Right. You know what you may find too?
It's horrible. I do not enjoy Peacock WWE being owned by Peacock.
Endeavor you might see Endeavor create their own streaming service where they will host all UFC fights, all WWE, and you'll pay $14.99 a month. And you'll get every UFC pay-per-view, and you'll get every WWE pay-per-view, and you may pay, instead of only $9.99, you might pay like $14.99.
I wouldn't mind that because right now, to be quite honest with you, if they went to ESPN Plus, it would be worse off because I heard the last UFC pay-per-view was like $150 or something like that.
Yeah. So
that's retarded.
Well, if we bought a WrestleMania would cost us $100.
Oh, bro.
So, all right, brother. It is now 11 o'clock. We had gone 2 hours.
Yeah, hey man, it was a good talk though. It was we covered everything a lot, But hey, all right, everyone, and
hey, why don't we try to plan if we can a week from Sunday? We'll do a post SummerSlam. From behind the curtain with me, you, and Mr. Fingers.
I missed the beginning of the show. I would like to add the Patriots will not win 7 games. Can I tell you something, Debbie Downer? Shut the fuck up and just wait to see what goes on. All right. With that being said, you're the same kid that thought the fucking Red Sox would have the worst record in baseball, and they're surprising us all. So I am Rumble.
I am the great Gazoo.
And once again, we talked sports
better than you.
See you next time, everyone.